You begin your life buried in darkness, pressed against dozens of soft shells that share the tiny world of your nest. Above you there is the weight of sun-baked sand, hot and heavy, and around you there is the muffled sound of waves crashing against an unseen shore. You do not know yet that you are on a beach, that your egg lies in a shallow pit dug by a female who will never meet you. All you know is the slow rhythm of your heartbeat and the faint tremble of the sand as the world outside moves and shifts and waits. Heat shapes you before you ever see light. The temperature of the sand decides whether you will grow as a male or a female. A secret written in degrees rather than in words. Tiny blood vessels lace your soft shell. Your flippers curl. Your eyes form. Days blur into nights that you cannot distinguish. Then gradually you feel the others around you begin to stir. Vibrations ripple through the nest. A claw scratches against your shell from inside. Your heartbeat quickens. Instinct, old as the ocean, tells you that it is time. Your egg tooth scrapes against the shell. The pressure builds. The membrane gives way, and suddenly cold dampness touches your nose. You break free into a cramped pocket of sand and broken shells. Surrounded by your siblings, the air is thin and gritty. Above, the sand is still heavy. But now the nest pulses with motion. Tiny flippers push and claw upward. You join them, climbing through darkness toward a world you have never seen. The sand grinds against your eyes and fills your mouth. You push anyway. After hours of struggle, the ceiling thins. Grains of sand loosen. A faint glow filters down. Bluish and strange. The air cools. At last you burst out onto the surface. And for the first time you see the sky. The night is enormous. Stars scatter across it like bits of shell. And the moon hangs over the water as a pale, trembling coin. The waves ahead of you flash silver with every crash. A flickering path of reflected light that your body recognizes instantly. That is home. That is where you must go. The sand beneath you is dry and soft near the nest, but each flipper stroke sends you sliding only a little forward. Behind you, ghost crabs watch with glassy eyes. Above, the shadow of a hungry bird crosses the moonlit beach. You are small, no larger than a human hand. Your shell still soft, your body fragile. To them you are nothing more than a living mouthful. Instinct screams the only command you will ever truly obey. You rush toward the sea. The night wind whips grains of sand against your eyes. A crab darts close, claws open, but you flail with your tiny flippers, scraping past it, leaving behind a thin trail of pushed sand. You hear the ocean more clearly now, a constant roar that drowns out your own fear. The sand grows wetter and firmer under your belly. A wave washes up and suddenly the world becomes chaos. Salt water slams over you. The taste is sharp and strange. The current tugs at your body, dragging you backward, then surges again, lifting you for a heartbeat. You paddle frantically with flippers that have never really moved before. Another wave comes, stronger. This time you are picked up, pulled forward, swallowed by the surf. The water is cold compared to the sand, and it presses against every part of you. Instantly your body knows how to move. Your front flippers sweep in wide strokes. Your back flippers steer. You rise, break the surface, gasp, then dive again. Behind you, the beach shrinks. The deadly strip of sand that nearly killed you a moment ago falls away into the darkness. In front of you is endless water, stretching farther than your newborn eyes can understand. You do not know the word, but you are already lost in the ocean. Your first hours at sea are a blur of frantic motion and blind faith. The surface glows faintly under the moon, and you swim toward that light, away from the shadows of the shore. Below you, shapes move, small fish flash like broken pieces of stars, and darker forms glide with slow, powerful motions that are not friendly. A sudden shadow rises from below. Jaws open. One of your siblings disappears in a burst of bubbles and broken shell. You do not stop to mourn. You swim harder. Survival has no room for grief. Days pass. You drift into the open ocean, carried by currents you cannot see but can always feel. Floating mats of seaweed cradle you, giving you brief shelter from predators above and below. Tiny creatures cling to the tangled fronds, and you learn to snap them up with precise bites. Your shell hardens bit by bit. Your flippers grow stronger. The sun burns above, turning the surface into a shimmering mirror. When you rise to breathe, its light stings your eyes. When you dive deep, the blue thickens into darkness that feels almost solid. Now you are 1 year old. You have grown, but not by much. You are still small enough to fit in a human arm. The vast ocean around you has become both your home and your prison. There is no reef yet, no familiar rock, no safe cave, only drifting weed lines, open water, and the endless risk of becoming something else's meal. Large fish patrol the blue desert. Sharks arrive out of nowhere, pale bellies and black eyes cutting through the water with casual menace. When they come close, you flatten your body and glide downward, hiding in the fractured light that filters from above, hoping your silhouette disappears into the shifting patterns. You learn the taste of many things. Jellyfish pulse through the water like slow, translucent ghosts, their tentacles trailing like shredded silk. You bite carefully at their soft bells with your sharp beak, feeling the faint sting on your mouth. Their bodies offer water rich in energy, perfect for a growing turtle. You chase them clumsily at first, then with increasing precision, your flippers slicing the water in strong, steady strokes. Once, you mistake something else for a jellyfish. It is round and clear, drifting and shining. It looks perfect. You bite and taste something that is not alive, smooth and hard and wrong. You swallow before you understand. It clogs your throat and burns your insides. It is a human plastic bag, thrown away and carried far from land. The open ocean has become a graveyard of human things that do not rot. Nets hang like invisible walls. Lines drift with hooks that latch into flesh. Bits of floating trash shine like lures to hungry eyes. None of these belong to the sea, but the sea cannot spit them out. You learn to weave between them, but you do not always succeed. Once, a loop of fishing line tightens around your flipper. Panic surges through you. You kick and kick, the thin cord cutting deeper into your flesh. You twist and roll, scraping against a drifting log, until at last the line snaps. You escape, but the scar remains, a tight white band that will circle your limb for the rest of your life. Now you are 10 years old. You are larger. Your shell as long as the torso of a human child. You have survived storms that turned the surface into a broken landscape of waves. Survived nights when flashes of lightning stabbed the black sky and thunder rolled over the water like boulders. You have floated through warm currents filled with life and cold currents that felt empty and dead. Somewhere inside your brain a map is forming, written not in lines or names but in magnetic fields and the feel of distant shores. You are still a wanderer, but the world around you is no longer completely unknown. One day you drift toward a place where the water turns strangely bright. Below you, colors explode. Greens, pinks, yellows, and blues blossom in intricate shapes of living stone. You have reached a coral reef. For the first time you see a crowded city of the sea. Fish of every shape and pattern dart between branching corals. Parrotfish scrape at the reef with beaks like stone chisels. Moray eels peer from holes like watchful dragons. Soft corals sway in the current like underwater forests. It is beautiful and noisy, filled with the crunch of feeding mouths, the clicks of snapping shrimp, and the constant hum of life. You circle the reef warily, then dive toward a patch of seagrass that sways on the sandy bottom nearby. The blades are thick, waving gently in the current like a field of underwater wheat. You take a bite. The taste is bitter and rich. Your body responds with a deep, quiet satisfaction. Gradually your diet shifts. You eat less drifting jelly and more seagrass and algae. Your body changes shape, muscles building along your neck and flippers. your shell becoming broader and smoother. The fat under your skin turns greenish from the plants you eat. Without knowing it, you are becoming a green sea turtle, a grazer of underwater meadows. The reef feels like a sanctuary compared to the open ocean, but danger never truly leaves. Sharks still pass along the outer edges. Large groupers lurk in the shadows of coral caves. A careless moment in shallow water can end with a boat propeller slicing through the sea like a spinning blade. You rise regularly to breathe, your nostrils breaking the surface, pulling in warm air that smells faintly of salt and oil. Sometimes you hear the distant roar of engines and stay below until the vibrations fade. Sometimes the noise arrives too quickly. A sudden burst followed by a sharp pain that carves across your shell or tail as a hull rushes overhead. Now you are 20 years old. You are no longer small. Your shell is as long as a human adult is tall from hip to shoulder. Your flippers are powerful paddles that propel you through the water with graceful strength. You have learned to rest in the shadows of coral heads, wedged in small crevices where currents cannot easily dislodge you. You sleep underwater, holding your breath for long minutes, rising only occasionally to gulp air under the light of the moon. You are not yet fully mature, but you are close. At some point, something old awakens in you. A pull that is not hunger and not fear. It is a direction, a call that is older than any individual turtle. The same forces that guided you away from the beach as a hatchling now tug you back. You set off on a long journey, leaving behind the familiar reef and its swaying seagrass beds. You swim along currents that run like invisible rivers through the sea. Days blur into weeks. The water temperature changes. The feel of the bottom beneath you shifts from coral to sand, from deep blue to a paler, shallower turquoise. You arrive at a stretch of coast that feels strangely familiar, although you have never seen it as an adult. The pattern of the waves against the shore, the smell of the sand, the tilt of the moonrise, all echo something you experienced for only a few frantic minutes as a hatchling. This is where you were born. This is where you must return. The beach is narrower now, bitten away by rising seas and carved by human footprints. Lights from houses and streets blaze behind the dunes, brighter than the stars. At night they glow like false moons, confusing the tiny turtles that now crawl toward parking lots instead of toward the waves. You wait in the deeper water just offshore, your body buoyed by the rhythm of the surf. The time must be right. Your eggs must be ready. At last you make the decision that your ancestors made before you. You swim toward the shore, letting a wave carry you as close as it can. Then push your heavy body onto the sand. Gravity crushes down on you, a weight you have not felt since you left this beach as a baby. Your flippers, built for water, struggle against dry sand, but instinct drives you forward. You crawl above the high tide line, each movement a slow, determined pull. You begin to dig, your back flippers scoop and scrape, carefully carving a flask-shaped hole into the warm sand. The work is exhausting. Your lungs burn with the effort. Sand clings to your eyes and mouth. Yet you continue, guided by knowledge written deep in your bones. When the nest is finally deep enough, you position yourself over it and release the next generation of small, fragile worlds. Soft, white eggs drop into the darkness, each one a new attempt by your species to outnumber everything that kills you. When you finish, you cover the nest with sand, patting it down gently, disguising it with loose grains and broken shells. You have no way to warn the eggs about what awaits them. Dogs may dig them up, people may trample them, drive vehicles over them, or collect them. Rising temperatures may skew the balance of male and female hatchlings. Floods may wash the entire nest away. You have done what you can. The rest belongs to chance. You turn back toward the sea, dragging your tired body across the sand that once almost ended your life. A wave reaches for you, wraps around your shell, and pulls you back into the water that is both friend and enemy. Now you are 40 years old. You have returned to this beach several times, repeating the ritual of digging and laying, leaving behind more nests than you can remember. Many of your offspring have died before touching the water. Many have died in the open ocean, in the mouths of predators, in invisible nets, in bellies choked with plastic. A very few have survived long enough to feel the same strange pull that you felt. They, too, are making their way through the dangerous blue, looking for the place where brightness on the shore feels just right. Your body bears the stories of your life in scars. One line runs across your shell where a propeller kissed you with steel. Another circles your flipper where old fishing line bit deep into your flesh when you were young. Tiny marks dot your skin from encounters with sharp coral and aggressive fish. Your shell has grown thick and heavy. Your muscles have lost a little of their explosive power. You still swim with grace, but long migrations now leave you more tired than before. The world around you has also changed. The reef that once blazed with color is paler now. Patches of coral bleached by warming seas. Some sections have become dead rock, covered in slimy algae rather than vibrant polyps. The seagrass beds where you feed have shrunk in places, torn up by anchors and clouded by sediment from construction on distant shores. There are more boats overhead, more noise, more nets, more plastic things that shine and tempt and kill. The dangers you face are no longer only teeth and claws, but decisions made far away, by beings who walk on land and rarely see the world beneath the surface. Now you are 60 years old. For a sea turtle, this is an age few reach. You have outlived countless siblings, escaped storms, avoided predators, and somehow navigated a world that grows more complicated every year. Your movements are slower now. Your dives are shorter. Your shell feels heavier than ever. Yet the ancient cycle still pulls at you. One more time, perhaps several more if you are lucky. You answer the call of the nesting beach. The journey feels longer, the currents more difficult to ride. You rest more often in underwater ledges, letting the gentle motion of the sea cradle your aging body. On a warm night, under a sky that is dimmer with stars and brighter with human light, you haul yourself onto the sand again. Each pull of your flippers feels like lifting stone. You dig your nest in a spot that seems safe, just as you have always done. Your eggs fall into the darkness, hot and silent. When the last one is laid, you cover them, smoothing the sand as carefully as ever. You pause for a long moment. Your eyes turn toward the sound of the waves. There is no ceremony, no farewell, only the steady rush and retreat of the sea. You slide back into the water that has held you for a lifetime. The cool embrace closes around your shell, soothing your tired joints. You swim slowly toward the deeper blue, away from the shallows where the waves break and the noise of the shore intrudes. Perhaps a predator will find you one day, an old turtle moving more slowly than it should. Perhaps your heart will simply beat its last between one dive and the next. Your body sinking gently to the seabed to feed scavengers and nourish the world that once threatened to devour you at every stage of your life. From buried egg to frantic hatchling, from lost juvenile drifting among lethal plastic to seasoned adult carving paths through fading reefs. Your life has been a constant negotiation between risk and survival. The ocean that raised you has never truly been safe. It has only ever been home. For a sea turtle lost in the vastness of the water, existence is both miracle and punishment. A long journey through beauty and danger where every breath is borrowed. Life as a solitary sea turtle wandering the open ocean is harsh and unforgiving in its own quiet, relentless way.